Hey friends, welcome back to your Thursday of hot news. Made no sense, but you love me enough to keep watching anyways, and those of you who don't will leave vigorous comments down below about how I'm unprofessional. My face is stupid and punchable. I agree with all of those. Let's talk about today's sponsor, Display. Check out these dope metal prints down below in the comments. Display.com/UFD You can save 15% off by using coupon code UFD. They also run sales regularly that might be a little bit better, but if you use our link and then that coupon code, everything's still good, bro. We get credit, you guys save more money, you get amazing decor for your stuff, and plus Cyberpunk. Who doesn't want Cyberpunk stuff? They got the license from CD Projekt Red. You can get dope Cyberpunk prints. They're supposed to be sending us one, supposedly, at least according to my last email correspondence, and that is totally going on the set if it happens. So watch your peepers for that one. Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Let's look at the first article in Hot News, which is something that I never thought would come. The days of the apocalypse are upon us, and my soul is filled to the brim with joy. According to the head of Sony Interactive Entertainment, they are potentially looking at bringing PlayStation games to PCs. So in an interview that was done with Sean Layden yesterday, he stated that we must support the PlayStation platform. That is a non-negotiable. That said, you will see in the future some titles coming out of my collection of studios which may need to lean into a wider installed base. Woo! Reece is excited. Could you imagine Marvel's Spider-Man on the PC? I can. Can you imagine things like Persona on the PC? I can, except for that's not a first-party title, so it doesn't count. But God of War on the PC? I can. Although the way he's talking makes it seem like it's going to be future titles and not necessarily a retroactive thing, which would make me sad because I would want the good classics ported over to PC, but I'll take whatever I can get. The next God of War on PC? Yes, sir, please, give me.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Anyways, this news is actually quite surprising given the amount of disdain Sony has seemed to have for other platforms with supporting crossplay on things such as Rocket League or just even account stuff like they did with Epic Games on Fortnite. They have been a gigantic mess of a company when it comes to playing well with others, but they might realize that in order to win the next generation console race, the best thing that they could do is open it up to more people, because I guarantee you, if I can play my PlayStation games on my PC as well, I'm more inclined to get those games from Sony. It makes more sense. I can play them in more places. Microsoft has already done this with the Xbox thing, whatever it's called, Game Pass? No, Game Pass is something different. Play Anywhere, that's what it is. But for me, since they don't actually have any good first-party games, I just get those games on friggin' PC and I don't worry about getting them on console. This might backfire, I'm not sure. I might just keep my PC and not get a PlayStation. Whatever, that's not the point. The point is this is great, and they need something for a win, because if you've seen the leaked dev kit of the PlayStation 5, they're not gonna win on looks. We talked about it in yesterday's Hot News. You can check that out right up there. Just give a big yikes down below for Sony's PlayStation 5 dev kit. That thing looks like basically as if somebody tried to make a car and they didn't know what a car was supposed to look like. That's a bad analogy. I read something really good yesterday, it was funny. It basically looks like a giant radiator. Anyways, let's talk about the other team in the console race, Microsoft, and about Xbox, because there's been all of this hullabaloo about Amazon and Google having contractors listen to people's recordings. It's kind of scary. I may or may not have been somebody who did that at one stage in my previous life where I worked as a contractor for a nameless search engine and heard people's whatever questions. Totally didn't do that. Anyways, apparently Microsoft has been listening to people for years. When the Kinect originally came out, they've been recording audio and sending it to their contractors. Imagine that. Do you actually think these services get better on their own? No, they need actual people to evaluate whether or not the intent behind the query is being satisfied, or if the intent behind the actual use case is being satisfied. A robot cannot do that. It can just provide the answer. It cannot qualitatively assess its answer outside of itself. So having humans do this makes a lot of sense, but you didn't know what was going on. But bam, people are getting paid pretty good, decent money to work from home and do that. It was a great job. I loved it so much. I worked whatever hours I wanted. I got paid pretty dang good for something that you work from home. If I go back to America, I'm doing it again. I'm gonna listen to your Google stuff, friends. Oh, I said their name. And then China is apparently finally getting a version of Steam rolling out into the country. Apparently, it's going to be a more sanitized version of Steam that is different from all the other international versions that are sanitized. It's going to be even more sanitized, and it's with Valve's Chinese partner, Perfect World Entertainment, that's going to roll it out. We'll see how it goes. Cool. What's not cool, and what frustrates me a little bit, but it's kind of cool, but it's not really, is Intel's new line of mobile processors has been announced. Please give me a woo. That's about as much excitement as you're gonna get out of anybody for this, because 10th generation, still 14 nanometers. I can't even say it correctly anymore, that's how long they've been on it. And it's called Comet Lake. Fantastic. No more cores and threads than the 9th gen. Why do you need this? I don't know, mate. Let's talk about something else that's being rehashed. Need for Speed, Heat. Apparently, Ghost Studios is reinventing the wheel again. Ah, that was a pun. Apparently, it's not gonna have that crappy upgrade system that Payback had where you had to get cards in order to upgrade your PC and you couldn't just buy it with cash directly. But it's also not gonna be like the original 2015 Need for Speed either. Why does Ghost Studios still get to produce these games? I don't know. Just give us remasters. Okay, we're in the age where people are reconfiguring all of the content from our youth. Just give us what we want. Your original content sucks, so just go back to what worked. Give us Need for Speed Underground 2 with the soundtrack. A lot of people want Most Wanted as well. Do both 2 years in a row. It's not that hard of content. Get the licensing rights for all of the same songs, and you'll fill up everybody's nostalgia gaze. Don't introduce any microtransactions, and everybody's happy. Everybody. Dang it, EA. Give me Underground 2 again. That is how I discovered some great music. Unwritten Law? Yes, please. Celebration song. Let's go. But you know what we should be celebrating? Old people. Older people, celebrities. I don't know where I'm going here. Anyways, apparently there's a new Instagram hoax that dupes people into posting that thing that says, Instagram doesn't have rights to my photos, blah, 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 blah. The big reason this is coming out is because famous people such as Usher, Waka Flocka Flame, Julianne Moore, Julia Roberts, and Rob Lowe posting this, as well as the dude who's the US Secretary of Energy, the guy behind nuclear stuff, Rick Perry, posting it. So, you know, America's in safe hands. They own all of your stuff. You signed up for it in the privacy policy. Posting a picture that says you didn't agree to it doesn't mean you didn't agree to it. It's not rocket science, people. Apparently, Apple is warning against people putting the new Apple Card into leather. You know, like a leather wallet. Or denim, so you know your jeans, because they say that it can rub off onto the card and create irreparable markings or coloration onto the card. And if you want it to be as pristine as it is, you need to then not actually, get a Ridge wallet, I guess. That's cool. ridgewallet.com/UFD. Enter coupon code UFD to save 10% and receive free worldwide shipping. They're not sponsoring this episode, but you can do it. And then Apple also removed their Designed by Apple in California book from the US online store. It appears that they are potentially out of stock forever, which is good because it's the most pretentious book ever created. $300, and you get pictures of giant Apple products after you've already spent thousands of dollars on the Apple products and owned them. Speaking of expensive pricing stuff, Tesla is actually delaying the price hike on their autopilot system because they missed the deadline, or at least a stated deadline, it wasn't a hard deadline, on their enhanced summon feature for when you call the car and it comes get you and all that. They were supposed to have it out recently, but they missed the mark and it's still not out yet, so they'll wait to introduce the $1,000 price hike until enhanced summon is ready, which is kind of good. You get an extra feature, which is why you're paying a little bit more. It kind of makes sense, but considering the fact that things like the Model 3 already have all of the hardware coming out of the factory, and then it's just a software rollout, I guess. But then on one hand, I would expect that, because it's a software thing and they're receiving all the data, they also have to dedicate server space to you if you get the autopilot system. But that is to say, if they're not already just collecting your data anyways, even if you don't have the autopilot system turned on. This is tricky stuff, friends. Let's talk about other tricky stuff, which is Xilinx creating the world's largest FPGA processor, which has 35 billion transistors. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. Field programmable arrays obviously are used for a variety of different things. They're programmable chips, so you can actually change them to do a whole bunch of different tasks. They're used in things such as NVIDIA's G-Sync panels. Those are FPGAs, and that's why some of the newer G-Sync stuff costs a whole bunch of money, because they have dedicated processors that have been programmed to do G-Sync. This is a big boy. This will cost a lot. They're going to put it in the next one, maybe. I don't know. NVIDIA likes Hoax has charged a lot of money too. Let's talk about another thing that charges me a lot of money in my brain as far as space, and that's Death Stranding, because I have no idea what the hell's going on with that game. It's the weirdest, bizarrest piece of pee and crap that I've ever seen in my life. But now, thanks to Games Radar, we actually can understand something about it, because this Game Writer's article says, I've seen Death Stranding at Gamescom and I finally understand what's going on. Read the article, you'll have an actual grasp on what's happening and not just a bizarre series of trailers. You can actually understand what the game's going to be. Thank you so much, Josh West, for posting this article and saving us all from thinking Hideo Kojima is actually just going to release a game. That's nonsense. And then there's some progress going on with Command & Conquer Remaster. You can look down below to see that there is significant progress being made and they're hitting milestones. They're getting close to alpha quality in case you like Command & Conquer.
Are you picking this up?
There you go, Remaster coming soon. And then Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. They got announced that they are going into early access early next year, and hopefully it won't spend years in early access, but you can buy the game, pay for it, and finally play the game that I have one friend who has been waiting years for this game. I mean, this has been in development purgatory for so long. It's actually surprising that it's still coming out. You know what's surprising about other things? Ring, apparently, the company that's owned by Amazon for the doorbell stuff, they're actually technically security cameras, and they're working with law enforcement to, patrol things and create security stuff. And in return, Amazon gets 911 data from the police systems. And there's cities like Ewing, New Jersey, which is going to be using Ring's Neighbor app in order to kind of keep an eye on everything. Thanks, New Jersey, you cesspool of a state. I was born in New Jersey. It explains so much about me. Fantastic. Spying on us while we're trying to keep ourselves safe, but the police get it anyways. And then in more amazing news, MoviePass, which probably not a whole lot of people used, but apparently a whole lot of people did use because they had a database that exposed 161 million database records, and it's been hacked, including credit card info. But if you had used privacy.com, which is a sponsor of UFD Tech, privacy.com/UFD to get $5 off for free and virtual credit numbers, or card numbers rather, use that link down below. We have a lot of sponsors today that technically aren't sponsors because they didn't pay us for this sponsor spot, but they're useful services. Maybe just check them out. If you use privacy, you wouldn't be involved in this MoviePass debacle, but now you might want to actually check if you signed up for it, whether or not your credit card is compromised. And then speaking of compromised, Spotify has compromised its integrity yet again, apparently, according to Eminem's publisher, 8 Mile, who's accusing Spotify of infringing on its rights because of how they've handled certain parts of Eminem's library. Apparently, there's something going on with the Music Modernization Act, which would allow Spotify to obtain a compulsory license to stream a song and then file a notice of intentions to pay the right holders. But apparently they didn't do that. And with a track like Lose Yourself, they actually filed it in their system under no copyright, or they couldn't find the copyright owner so that they didn't have to pay anybody. And Eminem's company is just like, what the heck? No, you know who this is. You did this on purpose so you wouldn't have to pay us. This is baloney, hogwash nonsense, and it's a violation of our rights as Americans.
I thought this was America.
And I won't violate your rights as Americans any longer by keeping you here on this episode of Hot News, because that's the end. I'm gonna lose myself into the rest of my day. Don't forget to check out today's video sponsor, Displate. Enter coupon code UFD to save 15% off of Dope Metal Prints, which they plant 10 trees for every single time you buy. And you also have things like Privacy and Ridge Wallet, who are sponsors of UFD Tech. You can check them out down below as well. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode of Hot News. Get subscribed to stay up to date, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys, friends, people, other weird entities on this side of this digital universe. This isn't exciting.